four dudes competing at the Tampa Pro this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You said you're gonna go to that?
No, I said I have four guys competing
Yeah, yeah,
there. I'm really
yeah,
busy
yeah.
right now.
You're like
I
a
only got 45 minutes for this podcast, man. We do.
yeah, yeah. It's hard to get a hold of you because you're just so busy with all your clients.
Yeah. I'm ghost coaching Nick Walker right now. So
Yeah. Sweet. All right. Well, everyone, welcome to the Will² podcast. We're going to be here talking about training. We're thinking about just doing these once a week. But Will, dude, how you been since the last time we invited you out to train? That was just such a sick time to be able to kind of get to know you a little bit better, but also train with you and just kind of see your insights on training. How you been lately?
good, man. Just been doing the usual stuff, but like 7 or 8 weeks into this push, give the little the boring update everyone does. Body weight going up, training's just flying. It's so fun, especially when you're in a surplus. I mean, you can't complain. Biggest thing just becomes like mitigating injury risk and trying as hard as you can to get strong without getting hurt, but it happens. Thankfully, thankfully we're both, 20 years old, so getting
Yeah,
injured doesn't exactly last for long. So
yeah, yeah,
I'm all good
exactly.
as of now. How about you?
We got the soft flexible bones still.
Exactly, dude.
We got the big bones. Dude, what's been your favorite training like day for training, like as far as like a favorite day of the week?
Right now, it's been either push or legs. Honestly, push is just it. It's heavily just like ego based with push.
Yeah.
I'm just always trying to chase a new number, whether it be dumbbells or like incline dumbbell or incline Smith. But I'm trashing the incline Smith now. I'm going back to old school incline barbell just because
Really?
I want to see. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to see because I don't know. I'm like, if I can do the 140s on a incline dumbbell for 7, 8 reps, like it feels like I should be able to do way more than 2.5 plates on the incline Smith. That
Yeah.
just doesn't line up to me because the incline Smith, the Arsenal one at least, is the heaviest Smith I've ever used, and I'm not feeling it anymore. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing I was talking to someone about the angle of Smith machines nowadays across every gym. It doesn't make sense to me.
You're
Like,
talking about the
why is it angled?
slanted
I,
angle
I
one?
can't,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't figure it out, man. And what he said was like he thinks it's something maybe from like the 80s and 90s when everyone was doing behind the neck press
Yep.
and everyone wanted to like press backwards and it felt more ergonomic. But the straight up and down, the Cybex that you guys have out there in Milwaukee, that all the good gyms have, you
Yeah.
can't beat it. Like if I had that 100%, dude, I'd be doing the incline Smith all day.
Yeah, dude, I honestly think that like that's probably one of my if I could pick like five machines just to do the rest of my life or to create my ultimate home gym, like that Smith, like that Cybex Smith is gonna be in there for sure. Just because like how like it's just the perfect Smith.
100%.
You can't get any better than a Cybex Smith machine. Honestly, really anything Cybex is pretty.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
I agree. Yeah, and people they don't make it anymore. The
Yeah.
Cybex they don't make it anymore. It's too bad.
Yeah, dude, going back to kind of what you were saying with the incline press, dude, that actually kind of reminds me of like last off season because I was doing a lot more free, like just free barbell movements. I wasn't doing barbell squats, but I was doing barbell rows. And then I had probably like a 3 to 5 week period where I just kind of started to progress into the incline barbell press again. And it's such a fun feeling when it's like you're just kind of moving some weight. And yeah, dude, it's a fun feeling, especially when you got like the back. So the old gym I used to work out at, Iron Physique and Lacrosse. I think I told you about it a little bit. It's kind of like it's all wood in the inside, so it's like a sauna in the summer. But they have this back room,
Yeah,
and like it's kind of like a like partially powerlifting room. Like there's a lot of powerlifters that go in there, but there's also a full like dumbbell rack that goes up to like the 150s or 160s. And then there's like some really good just racks. And so we'll just like go in there, do barbell rows, and like there's a bunch of graffiti on the walls, and it's just hardcore. Like you got like a big old speaker you can connect your phone to, and so like we would just rock
yeah,
out and just play some Chevelle, and then just like rock out some barbell rows, and then get some chains on the side of the of the barbell and just go balls
Dude,
to balls, man. Like sometimes you just need to have sessions like that, man. It's so much fun.
I know. I wish we had places like that around here. It's here. It's either the gym I go to or like somewhere super commercial like Planet Fitness. We don't have
Yeah.
anything badass like you guys have out there. It completely changes your experience with the gym. That's like, I mean, that's something even we could talk about here. It's like, as cliche as it sounds, it's just the environment is literally everything.
Hmm.
Because I mean, if you just think about when you get out of work, if you're working a 9 to 5 or whatever, 6 to 2, anything like an 8 hour shift, and you get out of work and you're just like you're tired, and you know you have to go to a gym that's everyone else is just as tired, and like it's depressing in there. They don't have equipment that like makes you like lights you up to like train. It's not the same as opposed to if you were to get out of work and you're like the gym you guys have in Milwaukee. If you were to get out of work and go there while you're tired, like immediately you step in the door and you're like, this is awesome.
Yeah, you can't beat
So
that.
it's so important.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's how you get yourself hyped up and ready for the gym. And like that was something literally even me and Tristan were talking about even today. And me and Tristan kind of like really get into not I would say the emotional side within training, but like we really like to get focused. And I think I
Yeah,
think that's so important, especially before your sets, like your actual environment, the vibe that you're actually surrounding yourself with, because dude, it's much of a mental game as it is a physical game. Like, dude, I
yeah,
had a set today where I'm just like I was low in the last couple weeks, honestly, like after like you came up and trained with me, it almost kind of went downhill as far as like progressions went. Like I was getting almost weaker again. Um, and I think part of it was a mental game actually, because like this last week I've gotten kind of the strength coming back up again. I also took a deload. I say deload, it's like 3 days off last week, 4 days off. But
same thing. Yeah,
yeah, and so and on top of that, just being able to like take a couple more like longer rest periods, but also take those right before the set, like take a couple breaths, really focus in, visualize that set. Like that's something that Tristan preaches all the time, and I think it makes a really big difference
yeah,
because like even today, I was kind of getting my head, I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling as strong as I normally do on this incline Smith
yeah,
press. And he's like, dude, stop like rushing into the set. Like just take a second, put your headphones in, find that perfect song, and just meditate on that, what that set visual and visualize what it looks like for you. And I think not enough maybe people do that. And even myself, like I catch myself every once in a while, like not doing that. And it always leads to like slightly less performance. And it kind of leaves you like, man, I feel like I could have gotten a little bit more there, you know?
yeah. No, it's gonna sound pretty gay, but like the gym is it's like it should be a form of meditation in a certain sense.
Hmm.
I think when you go in there and you're just half half in, half out, you got one foot out the door from the second you get in there, your sessions aren't going to be the same.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how you feel on the day. Like if you can turn your phone off, just turn the world off and just
Mhm.
actually get absorbed in your training, your session is going to be so much better. And it comes down to just you just need to focus on like the body part that you're doing and nothing else
Yeah.
throughout the whole session. Like yeah, it's so important. It's so important.
I think even like think,
Otherwise you kind of start to resent the gym too.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just kind of you get in there and you're like you're just ready to leave the second you get there. That's just how it happens with me at least. If I'm not focusing, I get
Mhm.
in there and I'm clock watching, and that's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's honestly kind of how I felt like the last couple of weeks within prep. And what's funny about that is
Yeah,
you think about what actually changed from like the beginning, middle, and prep to the last couple of weeks of prep. Like obviously I'm more depleted, right? But like what else I noticed was my habits. I was spending a lot more time looking for dopamine on my phone in the gym, and that's what kind of honestly made me like
yeah,
resent it a little bit. So I think like yeah, again, like we talk, you probably hear this all the time, like with social media preaching, "Oh, I'll get you off your phone, in the gym if you want to actually make performance." And you're probably at this point sick of hearing it, but it makes a big difference. Like if you're on your phone scrolling, if
yeah,
you're texting your girlfriend, if you're playing Cross Royale between sets, like it's not gonna make like you're not gonna be able to enjoy like what the gym truly is. And it's about progression. It's about enjoying the sessions, enjoying the pump. Like I think the other thing too is like, bro, this could go down a whole nother rabbit hole, but like enjoying the pump. Like, bro, that's what I got into the gym for. It's like how
Yeah.
much fun the pump is. Like, I think like yes, progression is fun, but I think, bro, just getting a nasty pump, man, like every once in a while, like, and not even focusing on the progression sometimes can actually lead to better sessions, you know?
Well, that's I think that's why you started kind of flagging towards the end of prep because there's no such thing as a pump for more than
Yeah,
like
yeah,
five
yeah.
seconds
That's
unless
true. It's true.
you
Yeah,
know what I mean. Like
yeah.
unless you have 8,000 calories of Five Guys and then fucking Anavar and all these things adding in, but
Right.
it's not something you're going to come by frequently. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, make your sessions enjoyable. I think like really when it comes down to it is like, setting up your session to be the most focused and kind of what that looks like for me at least is like I'm spending a couple times, times, I do pre-lift prayers. We did that when you came here once. And it always kind of gets me in the right mindset. I'm not saying like you have to like if you're not a Christian and you don't want to like do that, it's totally fine. You don't have to do that. Like even just spending a couple minutes in your car to just meditate, listen to a song that gets you hyped up or even not listening to a song at all and just kind of visualizing what this workout could look like, having a plan for the workout, pop a tadalafil, pop an Anavar every once in a while, have a good pump. And I think that's really like at the end of it, people like to overcomplicate it. It's like really at the end of the day, it's about having fun in the gym and then combining that with like if you're struggling with a certain thing, that's where the more nuanced topics kind of come in. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Speaking of
Speaking of
nuanced
nuanced
topics,
topics, do we have any questions? Oh,
yeah,
there
that's
we
what I was
go.
about to get into. Yeah. Dude, great minds think alike, right, dude? Like
Great
we're just
minds. I
we're on the
know.
same frequency, bro.
Same page,
Um,
guys.
Sweet. First question. When do you think it's appropriate to wear a belt, knee sleeves, or wraps during training?
Belt, knee sleeves, or wraps. Um, Caveat: if you're a power lifter, pretty much like always. I'm
Yeah.
not very well versed in the powerlifting side of things. I've seen people wearing them on a bench, and I think that's terrible. I don't think that makes sense at all. In a bodybuilding context, though, I would say a belt is good for like a squat,
Hmm.
something to brace against there. A deadlift, you can on a deadlift. I don't
Hmm.
because I want that actual like sort of trunk and erector engagement. Um, really for me, it's just on a squat
Yeah.
because I want to be able to push against something, and my back feels the least stable on a squat.
And are you talking
Um,
about like any squatting pattern or specifically free bar?
no, specifically, I don't do free bar, but I would on a free bar, 100%. Smith squatting, and that's it.
Okay.
You could on a pendulum, but I just don't feel like it loads through my spine as heavily as a bar would. I feel
Yeah.
like a barbell is it's so much more pressure down your spine
Yep.
versus like I've seen people using it on a hack squat, and I don't really get that.
Yep.
I've never felt the need for it. It feels like it restricts me.
Okay.
So I never go with that because it feels like it feels like it's harder to breathe when my back is up against something and I'm already locked in with these pads on my shoulders. I almost feel claustrophobic and it just distracts me and I can't do it.
Yep.
So that I guess covers the belt. How about you?
Yeah. Honestly, there's not really much else I would really say as far as a takeaway from that. I think like for the belt, like I'm on the same position as you. I used to do a belt for a pendulum squat because for a long time I was progressing the pendulum squat even before the hack squat. And I think for a hack squat, like sometimes like I'll use a belt like if I'm going really heavy, and I don't feel like the back pad itself can support my spine enough. Like maybe I'll throw in a belt, but that time like if I have to at this point right now, it's like if I have to really use a belt. I'm probably going too heavy. I'm honestly like, and
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's like I really, especially if you have a certain dominant body part, I really don't think that you should ever really be using any sort of supporting tools. And the reason I say that is
I
because
agree.
with me, like quads is my dominant body part because I've just learned to connect with them at all different types of weights. So, dude, I could like literally last
Yeah.
week, I did a quad workout with two of my athletes, and I knew that like I've been having some issues with my knee. And so we took the biggest compound, the hack squat, and saved that for the literally like the very last exercise because then I knew that I wouldn't push us heavy on that. But guess what? It's like I literally put on two or three plates and was able like the amount of connection I had to my quads was just insane. And I don't need to use a belt for that because it's like obviously it's not a crazy weight where I'm not, I'm just like, putting so much pressure on my spine. And I think like, again, if you have a body part that is dominant, you should be able to progress at pretty much any sort of weight and be able to connect with that. And so I really think at that point, you're just limiting yourself. Um, at least that's my opinion when it comes to a belt. Honestly, and I would honestly say the same thing with knee sleeves, um, and even wraps. Like if you
Knee
have to
sleeves
really,
is the exact same, dude.
yeah, yeah. And then when it comes to wraps, like if we're talking like elbow wraps, um, or like elbow sleeves, like if you're pressing
Maybe
and
he was talking wrist wraps though.
yeah, I will
Was
use
he
wrist.
talking? He said wraps though. Was he thinking maybe wrist wraps? Because I'll use those all the time.
Yeah, okay. I could see that.
Um,
Maybe I
like
was
on a pressing.
yeah. I was thinking he was talking
Do you think
about
he was talking?
like knees, like knee wraps, or like elbow
Okay,
wraps.
okay. Well, because then in that case, yeah, I've never once in my life used elbow wraps. That said, I'm also not strong enough that I think I would ever need them.
Mhm,
I think that's more of a powerlifting tool. And even with knee sleeves, I used to use knee sleeves, and I found that my knees were hurting more.
mhm.
Because what happens if you get more than just a one ply knee sleeve, it will actually compress your joints hard enough that you can lift more weight than you otherwise would be able to.
Yeah,
So, say for example, you could hack squat 6 plates with knee sleeves, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so strong. If you pull those knee sleeves off, you could probably do four.
yeah.
And in that case, your knees are going to hurt less if you do four with less weight because you're loading what your quads can actually handle
Mhm.
versus overloading it an insane amount. And you're probably not even getting anything more out of your quads. You're probably just trashing your knees. So I'm kind of glad that he brought up with the knee sleeves because that's something I found for myself was as soon as I ditched the knee sleeves, it forced me to just drop the ego and actually start feeling the quads. And now I never use knee sleeves. It's not to say that I never will. I'm
Yeah.
sure in the future I will, especially as I get older. But
Yep.
just if you're young and you don't have any prior injuries, I don't see a need. I
Yep.
really don't see a need.
Yeah, if you're doing it, you're pushing too much weight. Again, that's why we like you mentioned that powerlifting in the beginning. It's really like all these things are going to be a lot more powerlifting centric, unless that you're dealing with an actual like injury
Yeah,
and you're a lot older. You've been doing bodybuilding for 5, 10 plus years, and you have you're more prone to injuries. Then maybe there's a case for that. But I think really every time that I've used any sort of these like I guess you could even call them like crutches, really. Every time I've used one of these things, it's like I
yeah,
don't really feel the connection there, because I'm focused so much on pressing the weight, and it's like, dude, I'm not a powerlifter anymore. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm trying to feel and I'm trying to connect to
yeah,
that, and that even kind of reminds me of your post yesterday, bro. Like you talked about like not pausing at the top of a hack squat because you want to keep the tension there. We're trying to keep the most tension on that muscle that we're working, and when you're using these crutches to brace, and maybe focus on pushing as much weight as possible, you're not going to be having tension on that muscle. You know what I mean? Let alone constant tension. You know what I mean? So,
no,
um, I'm pretty good on that one. I guess. Do you
it's
have
gonna
any
be
thoughts
flying
on
all
that?
over the place. Me too. That's really it. Like, end of the day is there's not actually that many uses for it
Yeah.
for any of them. That's what I would say. I was like, just to sum it up, would be like a squat if you really need it for a belt. Knee sleeves, I would say not at all unless you have an injury.
Yeah.
I guess that's really kind of the sums up what we were saying.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
What do we got next?
Do flat-footed shoes make an actual difference for training legs? This is kind of funny. Um, that kind
This
of
is
reminds me
funny
of that
because
conversation.
when I was training,
Yeah.
when we were training together,
Yeah.
we were training. It was me, Sam, and Will, and Will had on these. What were they? They're like fucking Hokas or New Balances or something.
I am on right now the New Balances. Yeah,
Oh, dude, they're like
yeah,
dad shoes or like they're meant for running, like for actual runners. They're
yeah.
squishy. It's like walking on gummy bears. Absolutely, absolutely, it makes a difference. If
Yeah,
you don't have flat-footed shoes, take your shoes off.
yeah,
100% it makes a difference. You'll be able to feel your quads better, but you'll also be 10 times safer.
yeah.
The Not just quads either, I would say for anything, even a barbell row. Like this doesn't just apply to leg training. Was this question? It specifically was pertaining to leg training, right?
Yeah, specifically legs.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say something like Vans or Converse or even some like Jordan 1s, anything, just flats, something flat. You're going to be able to
Nike
have a more
Blazers.
realistic, yep, something that's going to be way more realistic to what your foot would actually be doing. 100% is going to make a difference because you're not going to be just floating all over the place. The biggest reason for that I find is knee stability. If you have shoes that aren't evenly distributing your weight, your knees are going to be kind of flying all over the place, and you're going to be fighting harder to keep your knee in place than you are going to be to activating your quads. When I'm training quads, all I want to think about is the quad. So having a pair of shoes that's distracting and just pulling me away from that is going to completely detract from my training.
100%. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I would really even add on that. That's pretty much all the same things I've noticed. It was funny because like I don't usually like there's we were doing I think we were doing you were doing RDLs. So like
Yeah,
again,
barbell
I wasn't
RDLs.
really even like preparing for that, so that's why I didn't bring them. But yeah, again, like I think I did flat footed and it made a big difference. But
Yeah.
normally if I'm doing quads, like for the most part, I'm wearing flat footed shoes, and it does really make a difference because again, like you said, the knee stability thing. So yeah, I think that's pretty covered. Next one, most underrated chest exercises. I can kind of think of a few here already.
All right, go while I'm thinking.
All right, I think a really solid one is if you can connect if you can connect with a pin loaded like just incline press of choice, like any one of those. It's typically kind of harder for guys to connect with them. But if you're able to, again, kind of some of the big cues I really like to think about is I'm really just trying to drive my upper back into the pad. And if you can connect at the top, chances are you're going to be able to if you apply the same kind of cue but reverse, where you're trying to wrap your back around the pad as you're stretching, and really comes down to like the elbow angle. Like if you're going to be using maybe more of an inner grip, keeping your elbows potentially closer to your body. If you're going to be using more of like a, what is that, pronated, I guess, more just outward angle grip, keeping your elbows slightly more pointed outwards. Again, it's going to be a good way to get a good stretch in that. And I think like with these, if you're able to really connect with them, you can progress and getting like a really solid like progression and weight where you're stacking some serious weight at that stress position, like you're gonna grow your chest like crazy. Now that's the one caveat is like I think a lot of people it just takes a lot of fine tuning and adjustment to get into these machines, and so that's why they're probably not talked a lot about when it comes to like the top chest press. But that's why I say it's kind of underrated because if you can really connect with it, it makes a big difference, man.
Okay. I'm going to say dips. I'm going to go the exact opposite of what you're saying with like a sort of pin
Okay.
loaded upper chest press. I'm going to say dips. Main reason being, it seems like I fell for this too in the beginning. Social media kind of tells everyone you don't need to train lower chest at all.
Yeah.
You only need to train upper chest. And I feel like what we have just kind of seen is everyone has great front delts now,
Yep.
but still no chest to show for it. And that's because when everyone's starting out, they're trying to just train their upper chest, which is a great thought. The intention behind it's great. But in order to be able to train your upper chest, you have to really know how to train chest. You have to be very familiar with how everything feels. Dips are going to cover the entirety of your chest. And yes, the plane of motion is very focused on like the lower pec portion. Um, but I think it's such a good movement because you can overload it for God knows how long. That can be something you keep in for a long time and treat like a bench press. And you can get very strong on it, and your chest will get bigger. I know multiple people that have focused super heavily on dips, and they have a great chest. Like, yeah, maybe their upper chest could use work, but having a big lower chest is still going to mean that you're going to have a big chest overall. So
Right.
I would say dips because it seems like people kind of neglect it, and people just turn it into more of a tricep focus with dips.
Hmm.
But I would 100% say dips. I wouldn't say something like a pec deck because everyone does a pec deck.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
it is a good movement, but I would say dips.
Okay. I got another one. And I think this is kind of like this one, the nuance behind this is you have to start with this exercise. Because that's where I've noticed I feel it the best, and that's um pulling up one of those seated benches to like a cable stack and doing seated cable flies, like a flat angle.
Yeah,
And dude, those like I did those in my prep, and I always started with them on my chest days. And just the pure connection you get out of like maybe like a couple of warm-up sets, and then going straight into like a high, like heavy working set, like you can load that thing up. And I think that's where people get kind of scared, is they're like scared to like, especially if they're in a cutting sense, to go like really heavy on a fly. But like if you can progress in this machine and you get that deep stretch where you're just like loaded to the max, the amount of tension you get on that exercise, it's unworldly, bro. And I think the biggest kind of cue I like,
that's better than a pec deck too.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, because again, like a pec deck is going to be very limited in which, like you like that free motion that you have. It's very like one angle, and I think with like
And
the,
the tension's not evenly distributed.
yeah,
The
100%.
tension's not at all evenly distributed. It varies so widely depending on the brand and the maker of the pec deck.
Hmm.
So a lot of times it'll be like very heavy in the stretch, super light at the top, or
Hmm.
the opposite, which is even worse. Like if it's super light back here and you're going all the way up and now it's super heavy, like that's retarded. That doesn't make any sense. And I see way too many of those.
Yep.
So
Yep.
and this getting into the sort of science side of things is you're exhausting the muscle in this shortened position right in the beginning of the workout. It doesn't make sense.
No.
Um, you're going to get a better connection maybe, but it doesn't. That doesn't make sense. I would rather just have the tension constant, like with a cable, where it feels like if you're doing a cable fly, it feels like you're ripping your chest open the entire time, and then by the end of that, you're ready, and you can feel your chest, and you've already
Yeah.
kind of warmed
Dude,
up,
yeah, you took the words
and
out of
you've
my,
already gotten a couple of good sets out of it. I would say that's a good one,
yeah. Dude, yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there. But
100%.
I was literally just gonna say, like, I think this is again more bro science, but like when you have a really good pump, and that you're getting a really solid stimulus from like your first exercise by prioritizing that, like it's the best way to kind of start off a chest workout, in my opinion. Because again, I feel strong,
Yeah,
I feel the connection for that next exercise that I'm gonna do, which is gonna most likely be another compound. And it's like, dude, you stack those first two exercises together, and it's like if your chest doesn't grow, and you're doing all the right cues, I don't know how to help you. Because it's just like that's one of the most,
yeah,
I think, most underrated, but also just the greatest ways I've found to grow my chest for sure, and just to connect with it in general. All right, next question.
yeah.
Would you rather train at a gym with the best equipment but bad environment, or vice versa? So basically, worst equipment and best environment. I think we kind of talked. So I mean, we were kind of talking about this kind of the
It's
beginning.
exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, but just to cover it again, I would. It depends. It depends how good the equipment is, I guess.
yeah,
Because the reality is, I don't think that's ever actually happened where somewhere would have like an incredible set of equipment. Like you go to the when I went to the New Tech gym in Las Vegas, that equipment like was amazing, and the environment was electric. Like it was it's like something I've never seen before. Just like your gym, like that. Even though, truthfully though, we were there and the gym was pretty much empty, doesn't matter. It
yeah,
did not matter to me.
yeah,
But if you were to have a bunch of Karens in there or a bunch of people that if you were to have a bunch of 16-year-olds in there training with like reps in reserve, doing like 4 rep sets of pec deck, yeah, that might ruin my day. I might have to go with I might have to go with the lesser equipment and better environment,
Yeah.
honestly, because I think you would grow more doing that. I really do. Because the reality is you don't need all these special pieces of equipment. It's just very nice to have them, but you don't actually need them.
Yeah.
So as long as the gym's not like as long as the bench that I, like when I'm benching, the bench doesn't collapse on me. I'm not doing like incline dumbbell and it just flies right back to a flat. As long as that doesn't happen, I'm going with that. I'm going with the poor equipment, good environment.
Okay.
How about you?
Dude, it's tricky because you got a lot of good valid points there, but I also think about like, I know social, like we've kind of talked about, like social is probably the best equipment in the Midwest, I would say for sure. Maybe not the best environment.
One of
Um,
the best in the country.
yeah, for equipment, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think like the amount of progress I've seen within my physique since coming here 6 months ago is just like, bro, I felt like I progressed 2 years. And so like for that reason, I think I would probably pick up the best equipment. And that's honestly partly to even just disagree
But
with you. I'm partly just trying to disagree at this
hold on though.
point.
Let me stop you there.
All right, all right.
I have a thought though. Did you get bigger and make more progress because of your environment? Nick's at the gym all the time. You have all these people like Tristan. There's yeah, Nick, Tristan, Lance, Keaton, all these dudes. They're at the gym, right?
Yep.
I mean, you're not training with them every day,
Yeah.
but it's possible. I don't know. I do see what you're saying though, like the equipment, because you train by yourself more than you train with other people.
Yeah, well, in prep I
But
did
yeah,
actually. Yeah, because and it's funny because it's like I trained like with a lot of people at maybe the beginning of prep, a lot more, but I think like specifically my back training was just elevated through the roof. I've never had the amount of connection I've had
yeah,
with back and grew
yeah.
my back that much. Just from like the equipment and
That's
the
fair.
style for sure. So yeah, the environment makes a difference. I mean, like again, I don't think social is the worst environment. So that's why it's hard. I'm kind of torn, but I think for this specific
You have
question,
it all.
what's up?
You have it all, dude.
Yeah, yeah, I'm blessed for sure. I'm blessed for sure. But I think for this question specifically, I'm gonna have to go with the best equipment. And like
Yeah,
where my heart truly lies, like if I didn't care about progression at all, like bro, I'm ripping that barbell rows in that old school gym.
yeah,
But like if I'm talking about specific bodybuilding, man, like I'm choosing the better equipment all day, 100%.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's fair.
next question. All right. We'll probably have time for maybe honestly one more question. Um,
All right.
yeah, because we got about 6 minutes left. So, your thoughts on old school training versus new science-based? Is the old school grit better? We
Oh,
kind of covered this. I mean, like this is kind of what the podcast is
yes,
all about, but
yes. Oh my God, it is exhausting. No, there's a group of I say it's exhausting. I just need to not pay any mind to it. But there's there's a lot of kids. It's everywhere. But in my area, I see it all the time where kids are doing like all these science-based things. They have all these cuffs and they're doing like tricep pushdowns with a cuff and they're doing like 4 rep sets and they've gone up to my clients before and told them that they were doing too much volume and they were going to get fatigued and that they shouldn't listen to me. And I'm like, first of all, like mind your business. It's not cool to like you don't do that to people.
second of all, look
But
at the amount of progression that your clients made,
you
and look
look
at the progression that you
look at the
made.
exactly exactly look at yourself. How many pounds you weigh? You weigh like 150 pounds, and you're just ego lifting because that's what science-based lifting is it's ego lifting but under the guise of being like smarter and managing fatigue. But the reality is all that science-based lifting is it's just a cop out to train like a bitch, honestly. Because anybody can load up the max amount of weight that they can and train for 4 to 6 reps and call it like 2 RIR and be out of the gym in 45 minutes.
Yep.
Old school was training for it was what makes bodybuilding fun. Like doing like 20, 25 sets in a workout
Mhm.
and going in there, going to failure because that's fun. And you just go till you can't anymore. And when you find that limit, yeah, you pull back a little bit. You don't want to be going so hard that you can't get to the gym the next day. But that's where you see the most progress is pushing it as far as you possibly can because more is more up until it's not.
Mhm.
So science-based lifting doesn't make any sense to me. I understand that there's all this literature on guys that aren't trained, go to college and drink on the weekends, and then decide, oh, I'm going to be in this study.
Yep.
And they put an inch on their quads by doing 4 rep sets of leg extensions, and then that
Well,
gets
it's the first,
extrapolated
even
out
though it's the
to
first
your
six
gym
months in the gym
population.
and you have the newbie gains.
Yeah,
You know what I
you
mean?
could literally just do air squats in your first 6 months in the gym, and your legs will get bigger as long as you eat enough food.
Yeah.
So science-based lifting is retarded.
Yeah. Well, and to add on to that, like you mentioned food, right? When you're training these super low reps, these super like 1 to 2 sets per exercise, this super low volume, you're not creating a demand for food. You want to grow in the off season, you have
You're
to
gonna
create
get
a demand for
fat.
food. You're going to get fat because you're feeding yourself too much because you're not actually working hard enough. It's like, hey, guys, if you guys want to get the biggest as possible, you have
Yep.
to realize that you have to create a demand for food. And that comes through your training, that comes through these longer sets, that comes through progressing your volume, that comes from progressing in the lifts, actually being able to connect with the muscle, and then training with a couple different philosophies. Do a couple really, really heavy
Yeah.
sets. Do a couple of sets where you're just going 15, 20, you know, 25 plus reps and like just pumping the
I did
shit
a
out of
50
your
rep
arm.
set this last week.
Yeah, 100%, dude. It's the stuff that people don't talk about in the studies that, you know, actually makes a difference on anecdotal, like paper, like in any sort of like bodybuilding context. You look at some of the best bodybuilders in the world, and it's like, dude, did Ronnie Coleman take these studies and like analyze them? Hey, I need to do,
Yeah.
2 sets, and I know I need to know exactly like what 2 RR looks like on 800-pound squat. It's like, no, dude, he trained.
No, and no one knows what RIR is.
Oh.
All these people talk about like, oh, this is 2 RIR. No, it's not. You don't know what 2 RIR is. You've never been to failure. I don't even know what 2 RIR is. I can't judge it. There's no way to judge it. It just doesn't make sense.
You
It's
probably know
it's
what 2 RR because
purposefully
you train
holding
like
yourself back.
I would say you probably know what 2 RR looks like. You train like a freaking maniac, dude. Sweet, bro.
Potentially, but I would never do it.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Well, that I think that's gonna wrap it up. We got about a minute left. So for everyone who is watching and made it to this point, I appreciate you guys watching for the podcast. This is Will Pelotti. This is Will Hardy. You can find me
Politi.
Politi. Dude, I keep messing up your name, bro. Dude.
Everyone fucks it up. It's okay.
Yeah, dude. What's you want to shout out your Instagram?
Yeah, I think it's just Will.Politi. I'm the only person like on earth with that name.
Yeah,
So if you just look up my name, you'll find it.
sweet.
Yeah,
And then I got
that's it.
I got Will.Hardy1 on Instagram. So check us both out. Take a look at our YouTube channel as well. They'll be linked in this video. And yeah, guys, stay tuned for the next video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and then maybe we'll answer them in the next podcast. Sounds good,
All
boys.
right.
Well, Will, it was awesome talking to you. See you soon, bro. Peace out.
All right. See you soon. Peace.